Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to help us with the algorithm. Thank you, guys. Well, hello there, folks, and welcome to a brand new strategy game, Rise of the White Sun. This is actually a game that focuses on the Warlord period of Chinese history, which is, I believe, actually slightly during World War I, all the way to the start of World War II. We are going to be dealing with a number of different cliques, that is, conglomerations of warlords, as well as the Chinese Republic. And you can just see here the many scenarios you can play. Now, we're currently using a demo version, so a lot of these other ones are not available. But just to give you an example, for instance, if you're looking for the Red Uprising, that is the start of the Chinese Communist Party, you can actually do the Shanghai Uprising. With only 20,000 men, this is when, of course, Mao Zedong's army was very small and didn't yet have a great deal of influence within China. Of course, the one I recommend for new players is going to be this Yunnan Guangxi War, where we get to play as one of these many factions, either the Guangxi clique, the Yunnan provinces, Guzhou, or, of course, Shanhongying. Now, this is an especially difficult one, but the goal here, guys, is to establish dominance of all of China with our clique and establish ultimate control. Now, this game has a great deal of not just beautiful warfare, but a lot of actual political and security and espionage elements within it. So, for instance, you need to keep the people in line. You may need to develop the economy of certain provinces. This is a deep, deep game. I can't tell you guys that enough. Now, there is an intro here, which just gives you a basic understanding of what's happening. It also lets you know what you need to do. And really, the goal here is, of course, to win the war against Yunnan if possible, with 30 turns to complete that objective. Now, when I first saw this character element in game, I thought it was going to be a negative, but it's not. And the reason is because you've got security officers, you've got generals, and they're going to provide you in-depth reports. So, for instance, if you liquefy a province or if you attack an enemy, they're going to give you detailed reports. So we want to defend the revolution here, folks, and try and, of course, bring China out of this imperial mire, hopefully. Now, the interesting thing is the actual developer himself told me that this is really one of those games that you can sort of just play little by little and you're going to learn. You have up here chi, which in this case is going to be energy, basically. You've got money, you've got face, which is sort of the respect you have amongst other factions, as an example. Now, we're actually within our own province. This is the Guangxi clique, and we can see that over here at Heiqi, it's actually taken over by bandits, as evidenced by that little sword there. So what I'm going to do, guys, my first order of action is I'm going to take these troops, going to move into Heiqi, and from the south here, oh, hold on. The real attack began after long and deadly shelling that spread panic in the defenders' ranks. The attackers led an inspiring charge against outgunned defenders. Surrounded on all sides by the enemy, the defenders could not find a way of retreat. The attacker remains master of the field, while his enemy broken is in complete rout. For this victory, the attacker earns 10 face. So because we got a victory here, guys, we actually earn respect amongst the people, our own people, and the enemy, and this gives us an idea of what happened in each battle. Now, when you see coolies lost, these are essentially porters, I believe. They actually bring your men's items to battle. They're basically sort of slaves, from my understanding, but we pacified the bandits completely. The enemy army has been annihilated. So this province of Heiqi should eventually fall under our control. But it's not that simple in this game. It does take a while for you to actually establish control in these provinces. I'd like to do the same over here. I believe we've got 10,000 men. Let's move into the Heizhou province area, and hopefully we get just as lucky. The chief of the defending force wisely chose to avoid a fight he judged doomed to be lost. The invading force progressed without any resistance at all. And there are going to be battle reports there, but very little is going to happen. And of course, we want to keep those armies in those provinces just to keep everything under our control, and to make sure there are no uprisings from these bandits. Now, as you can see, we've got a number of different actual characters here. Some of them are assisting us with controlling our army. Others are assisting us with actually controlling our cities. So, for instance, if we go to Baise, I should say, we've got influence with the peasants, influence with the workers, influence with the gentry. It looks like currently the gentry is greatly on our side, but there are other things we can do to improve the respect of the people here within the city. Or within the province. We could, of course, organize peasant militias to make them a little bit stronger, as an example. Or maybe we go to education and society and we tear down the Buddhist temples. Now, if we do something this drastic, we will make some money, but of course at a cost of face and influence. So there are just so many different things you can do in this game to either be the most honorable leader of your people or, of course, an absolutely vicious one. Now, what I'm actually going to do is build a road over here. And as you can see, you get an entirely other diplomat letting you know what's going on. Not only do we need more roads, but we need more roads crossable for motorized vehicles. Roads will allow the grain to reach the district during drought, armies to move faster, and industry to develop. Roads are expensive to build and maintain, but there are many ways to save money. We can let most of them unsurfaced and order local officials to maintain them out of their own revenues. So we could either go ahead and, get some fast roads up or build them to last. It's also going to be one per turn to maintain, and that's pretty tough. I'm going to build to last, and hopefully that will improve these roads in Baise. But I'm not sure if we have sufficient income to continue. No, we don't. No money. So let's hold on. We're actually going to go into next week. First, I want to take a look here at Huang Cheongdong and take a look at Yulin. And we can actually do some district justice reform here. So really trying to improve the local government. And this is eventually going to, lead to more improvements. And since our influence with the peasants and workers isn't great, particularly our influence with the peasants, this is one way to get their support. Justice at the level of villages and small towns is very often a disgrace. In addition to corrupt judges who sell their verdict to the highest bidder, illiterate peasants ignorant of the law often cannot even begin to defend themselves. The parity of justice creates a lot of tension between the people and the wealthy classes. In each village, a committee for the prevention of disputes will be elected and justice reformed 25%. And look at this, when 100% complete, your influence score among peasants and workers will increase by 20. So we can actually eventually get the peasants on our side through this method, of course. You'll also notice that you have individual characters. So we just used up all of our money with our friend Bai Zhongxi, but we still got our General Li Zhongren, who can go around and, of course, make things happen here. I'm almost tempted to go into Gulin, but I'm not really sure what would happen if we went there. Let's see, when we select Heiqi, let's organize peasant militias. The reason being, we just attacked this province. They're obviously going to want to rise up against us, so I really do want to keep them in check. And we are going to actually pay out of our own wallets just to keep this rural militia in check here. And as for economy and travel, we could actually try and get some additional cash by teaching modern agriculture. I think it's a great way to improve agricultural policies here in Baise. But I believe, yes, now our general's energy is spent. So now we move on to Huang Cheongdong. And again, he still has a few things that he could do. So if we jump in here to Baise, the government is encouraging the creation of peasant self-defense militias. This is what we passed before, and they are currently in the process of doing just that. Now, we could promote opium cultivation, and of course, this is one of those things that's going to hurt your face big time, absolutely, but it's going to bring money for the cause. So, I'm doing it, unfortunately. We forced local peasants to cultivate opium. They would not complain if that injunction was not accompanied by heavy new taxes. Your fiscal creativity is unmatched. You even establish a laziness tax to those who refuse to grow opium. And of course, everybody in our faction loses 25 face. This is a big deal. So in the future, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do that, although it will be bringing in a lot of cash next turn. If you take a look over here, guys, with the manpower or the supporters, once you start to grow your supporters, you can actually recruit additional specialists. So additional characters to go around and, of course, administer your realm. In fact, it looks like Bai Zhongxi can still head over here and do something. I'd actually like something that increases face, and tearing down Buddhist temples is just going to upset the people. So let's not do that at all. And let's just hope that we shut down the bandits next turn. Interesting. So actually an attack from a different clique, guys. This was not even a bandit attack. They just straight up hit us at Heizhou. And as you can see here, the unit has been seen in the area. All right, not much happened. The real attack began after a long and deadly shelling that spread panic in the defenders' ranks. The defenders' artillery takes its deadly toll on the progressing assault columns. The defender, protected on well-prepared defensive positions, quickly gained the upper hand. Guys, we crushed them, and look at that, killing nearly 8.3 thousand enemies for a loss of only 1,000. And also, now we know that the Julin clique is absolutely at war with us. All right, the desertion rate in this troop is alarming. Most of these men turned to banditry. That's not good. Pardon me. Wow, really need to get a bottle of water when I do stream. That was a frog in my throat big time. So what happened? We essentially called in, of course, security elements, militias to rise up here and stop the banditry. Instead, they turned to banditry. This is just one of the many things that can happen when you are trying to control such a large country, of course. So it's going to take a little bit longer, I think, for us to get that peasant populace under our control, if I'm not mistaken. In the meantime, I want to go take a look at the educations here. So we can actually campaign against the old customs. This would increase our influence with the students. That's currently at 40. But it'll decrease our influence with the peasants, and we really need peasant support here. So let's see. Reviving Confucian legacy, a good way to increase the gentry and student influence immediately, while raising the tradition score, and it'll decrease communist influence. Of course, the communists could rise up, but they're sort of considered bandit factions initially, until, of course, they establish a city-state, or not a city-state, a region. We'll decrease tradition. We'll increase the influence of the students. What increases the influence of the peasants? That's what we really want. And village deliberative assemblies will lower the corruption level a bit. I think this helps everybody. So a good government should make use of its citizens under the control of magistrates. Deliberative village assemblies would elect their village chief and contribute to a form of local self-government. Yeah, absolutely. I think over time this will be helpful. It's always possible to buy small quantities of rifles. The number of rifles you can get and chance of success depends mostly on your character's traits. That's interesting. But let's focus on the gun repair shop, and that's because we are going to need to build an arsenal. I mean, after all, we're not just at war with these other cliques, but we're at war with bandits all over the country, and I think Li Zongren, we can put him in charge of keeping this this area staffed with weapons. So this is really cool too. You get a report, and it just gives you a great degree of, I guess, a great degree of information of what your decisions have caused. You could see that, for instance, the organization of peasant militias, even though it didn't go well, it takes more than just one turn. You know, it takes a while to actually get to fully organized peasant militias. But I like that they show that. I think it's a really nice bit of information there. Let me jump back into Baise. Hold on. Because I just want to see order and security. No, that's going to be smuggling rifles. What about economy and travel? So this will, again, decrease our influence among the peasants. We don't want that. The Chamber of Commerce, this is going to increase our mining revenue over time, so I think that's definitely important. And I'm just looking around to see if there are any other bandits, and it does look right there, guys. There are bandits in Laibin. This unit won't move. Oh, boy. I think we've got another army. Huh. Oh, you know why? Because we need to select the different unit. So there we go. Charging in to defeat the bandits. The chief of the defending force wisely chose to avoid a fight he judged doomed to be lost. Fantastic. Just instantly getting rid of those bandits. And I wonder if we could follow up with this army and still damage them. Let me try that. So let's select this fellow. Okay, no. So they are definitely beaten. Interesting. But at this point, I'm trying to establish control over Laibin yet again. And what better way to do that than to get primary schooling going? The gentry's going to be upset because, of course, they want to be the most educated people. They don't want the peasants to be particularly educated. But I think this is one way to get the peasants on our side. Nonetheless, guys, I hope you enjoyed this gameplay video. Absolutely loving this game. Really, really fascinating, and albeit a bit complex. I'd love to dive deeper into it. There is quite a large wiki here in case you want additional information, and just really, really interesting little game here. Well, I hope to see you on the battlefield, and again, if you want to see more, always make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, folks.